In
We are
theory,
live, but
in
are the
theory,
mics live is the real question.
whether or not mics are live is another question. I don't know. I don't
I
know if
have
anyone's going to hear
voices.
us.
Oh, are we doing
Hello.
today's episode as Muppets?
We're just going to be Muppets.
Hi
Oh, that's
there.
very loud.
But I think we're all Kermit.
That's a lot in my ears. Hello.
It's not easy
Oh.
being green.
It's not easy being green.
Hey, oh. Can you hear anything?
Yes.
Are you getting sound?
Hey, here,
Do you hear
peeps.
all of us? Or just
Phoebe-
some people?
You
Phoebe
hear
X
words.
Joy says, "Oh, I hear people."
That is nice.
I think.
Peep, peep. There, Grit Mustache says it
Hi,
says he hears
peoples.
The
peeps.
music was loud.
The music
Sorry,
was
I turned
loud.
it down.
That is the job of the music. He thinks he is hearing
Yay,
everyone.
we have everybody.
We're using the rule.
Everyone should
award
be
ceremony
audible if you
rules for
hear
music.
some people. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but you know what? I am going to thank Jin, which I got while my computer was restarting.
Thank Jin
Don't tell.
indeed.
Brought to you by Jin.
I mean, not a bad plan.
Because
But that
I just thought, you know what? This is the only time in the week that I really drink, so I'm gonna just.
You're going to maintain that tradition even though
I'm
it's
gonna
10 a.m. in the morning?
It's 10:30,
Oh, it's a different.
and I will not take your judgment.
I do like. I didn't realize that the second step to turning it on and off again was get yourself a glass of gin, but I appreciate it.
I am almost Jesus age, and I therefore have.
What does that mean?
33.
Executed at age 30?
No, 33 specifically. I don't know why it's 33, but specifically 33.
Jesus year.
It's my Jesus year.
You're supposed to be starting your many preachings right now, Johnny.
I am preaching. My preaching is all hail gin.
In.
That's my preaching. My preaching is gin and lesbian colored eyes.
I'm just gonna say, if someone recommends a donkey and palm leaves to you, say no. I'm just.
Do it. Just say no.
I just want them a bad weekend after that.
I would legitimately say yes, but that might just be because I am chaos. I have now decided. Forget the fae. Forget the fae.
Chantel, you're coming out on only one side again.
Danke, I can fix that.
That is called mono audio.
I am aware of what that is. Whether or not this stream does is a whole other question. It is supposed to be.
I was more talking to Sam, who won thing.
Who won thing?
Yeah.
Let's see. I have no.
Brain, I need that specific word. Brain, no.
I can at least down mix for the VOD. That's not a problem.
At least, yeah.
At the very least. Lesbian eyes, clear hearts can't lose. That's, I mean, it's a beautiful sentiment. I don't think it's true.
It doesn't work that way, but yeah.
No, it does. It does. I promise it does. Hang on. I'm reversing the magnetic polarity, breaking everything.
Reversing the polarity of the neutron flow. Yes, no.
Don't cross the streams.
It's fixed now.
You fixed it. Okay. I have a clear heart and pink gin.
Nice.
Clear hearts, pink gin, can't lose.
Mm-hmm.
At least two of those are correct.
At least two.
Because
I would have said it at most two, but keep going.
So let's skip stuff because tech.
Sure.
Tell me, Michelle, what do you do with your life that's not this? I'm asking very specifically for you to tell me what links and things you would like people to know about.
Yes, exactly. All right. Hang on a second here. Yeah, so my name is Michel Valcourt. I'm an author as well as a once-in-a-while streamer. The relevant links are just posted. Thank you to the Lost Worlds Archive and Streamlabs. The biggest thing... Yeah, so the big thing is catch up with me at my own website, michelrvalancourt.com. That will give you access to pretty much all the relevant stuff. my book, my writing, my conversations about sustainable agriculture, and my discussions about Canadian politics. So yeah, if that's any of that stuff interests you, that's where to find me.
Yay. Sam.
Hi.
Same question. If
Same
you
question.
remember it, because I'm hyperactive type and inattentive type, and don't remember what I said. So if you do, that's great.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at _real Sammy P. Voice actor and performer based in Brisbane and Australia. Don't really have too many things to plug at the moment.
Sam will.
I had the sort of thought of like, I do need to change my Streamlabs thing, and I looked over and I think I did, but I don't remember doing that. So, yay, past Sam, coming in clutch.
Good job, past Sam.
But yeah, I mean, there's some stuff on the way. It's just not, and some things I probably should follow up on.
I'm gonna, because
but I'll tweet it when I can.
Yeah, we haven't solidified a time, but Sam is going to be turning up on the Monster Hearts game that I am running.
That would be one of the things I
As a
was
guest.
hinting around. Yes.
Yeah.
We're
So
doing a player exchange program.
let's. Yeah.
Hi.
Polyplerus? What?
I need a flag to fix my makeup. Jamie,
I'll get right on that.
Jamie, tell me about you.
Me, I am approximately 5'11" and a half. And
Okay, I mean, I don't want to know your height, so tell me something that's not that, because it makes me feel small.
Born I can't help it, Chanson. You made me get out of bed today.
Me? No. You made you get out
collective.
of bed. The collective got you.
I'm Jamie Collette. You can find me on Twitter at Muffin Manifesto or on my website, jamie-collette.com. I'm a professional voice actor. If you happen to be part of the fuel supply chain for the Australian Defence Force and you need to know about hazards and risk assessment, I am the new voice of hazards and risk assessment for the fuel supply chain for the Australian Defence Force. So that's exciting, I guess. You can also see shows that I have directed and acted in at streamedshakespeare.com. Little thing that was set up over the pandemic. And that's the main things at the moment.
All right.
Hey,
Chantel,
Danny.
tell us.
Oh.
No.
I
Yeah.
was gonna do
We'll
everyone
get.
else.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
You're stage managing. Go.
I'm stage managing Danny. I'm stage managing Danny specifically. Tell us about
wrong.
you.
I am here as a part of the player exchange program. I'm Danny, voice actor, etc., etc. You don't know my character yet, so I won't spend too much time bothering you with that. I play Monster Hearts with Shawnee runs on some predetermined day of the week that I can't think of right now, and you can find most of my work over at whisperforge.org.
Nice.
Yep.
And me. Oh, me. I am Chantel B. You can find me on Twitter at Chantel B. I do everything.
Yes.
I feel like that I could just do that and that would solve it, right? Like I just say that.
You do.
I just do everything. I solve tech issues. I am on I play in a Monster Hearts game over at Gehenna Gaming. I just go to my Twitter and I have a link tree and it has links to stuff. And I feel like that's just, let's leave that there. Should we play a game? Because I'm excited.
Let's play a little game.
Play
I want to play a game.
The only way to play is not. The only way to win is not to play.
The only way to play is not to win.
Well, that would be this game
That's
for
what
sure.
Okay. Well,
Alrighty then.
let's do that then.
Let's do that thing where we play games. Okay, so for those of you, by the way, who are not following Words with Color, you are missing out on some delightful self-immolation. I strongly recommend that you keep up with Alexandria's blog there.
Immolation? I was going to run the intro, but now I don't want to because I just want to move on. What you mean by that? I'm scared.
Okay, so yeah, hit that intro button now that everyone's wondering what it is I'm going on about, and we'll get gaming.
Okay. And we're back.
Alrighty.
Yay, us.
There's going to be an update. There's going to be an update to the intro next time.
I thought there would be, yes.
Yeah, there
we'll have
will be.
to.
There has
We'll
not
have to
been.
tell a couple of silly jokes. Get some shots of Danny laughing herself silly.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
That's basically what happens. Yeah. I find some footage of laughter and I put it in. Yeah.
Always remember to clip things.
Yep.
Everything.
Yes. Actually, that's a very good point for folks in the audience. If we're doing something you guys find particularly delightful, please hit the clip button. It actually helps us out a lot by getting other people who love stuff that you do to find us. So, yeah.
And it also helps me make break videos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I take those clips and I put them into that.
Yes. We do need to finish the cool stuff with the cool kids video, though.
Yes, also that. I have a lot on.
I know.
I don't want to talk about that. Let's do.
Let's play a game. Let's play a game.
Let's break my heart.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. So self-immolation. Right then. So real fast. Before we go any further, Danny, I just specifically to you, I use safety tools here at the table. I don't use any of the conventional ones because I had sort of come up with my own version before I heard that there was sort of a formalized way of doing it. I'd sort of do it in the way sort of a la rugby cards. So if for any reason you as a player are uncomfortable, don't like how a scene is going, just message me Discord or via or whatever PM you prefer with the phrase yellow card, and I will suddenly there'll be something bothering me in the background, whatever, we'll take a 5-minute break, and then you and I will sort it out, make sure you're cool to go back, and we fix the issue, get back to it. If you message me red card or at the end of 5 minutes of the yellow card chit chat, we cannot resolve the problem, then the stream is done for the day. No questions, no feel bads, no explanations. I don't tell anybody what's going on. I don't make a big production out of it. It's just I'm suddenly busy. Something has gone on, emergency, blah, blah, whatever and we'll sort it out over the week. Okay. I want all of my players to feel cool at the table. I don't care if the characters want to hide under a table in a fetal position and weep uncontrollably. I don't want my players there. Okay.
I do mind. I do. Yes.
Me, I mind.
So yeah. And the reality is, the phrase you'll hear me use is dog, dumb average white guy. It's a black friend of mine in Montreal uses that description for people like me. And as the 50-year-old dog at the table, statistically, I'm going to be the one who causes a problem. So that's the reason I insist so much at making sure my players know that I do believe in safety tools. And I've specifically chosen language that I'm going to recognize instantly as problematic, as opposed to wondering if the X I just got is somebody typoing or an actual problem in progress, right? Most people, even if you typo yellow card, I'll still be able to read that. X, I don't know so much, right? And then I have to ask the awkward question about, did you mean X or did you mean X? And which X is that X that you meant, right?
Gotcha.
So just, yeah, I can't screw that one up is the way I look at it. Okay. As a reminder, I mentioned it before, but we're a live dice channel. I am eventually going to figure out, probably right soon. I probably should have warned Chantel about this. I'm going to try and figure out a go button over here so I can replace basically toggle which camera I'm using so that I can see, when I'm rolling dice, it'll show up in my frame. Is my cunning plan for the next time. Is the thing I want to do. I just got myself a new phone, which means I now have a spare phone, which means I have a spare webcam. So yeah, that is a and I think with the right wiggling of software, I can set it up so I should be able to use that as a. So that is things that we're going to be doing. I always open up, Danny, the start of every session for any of the games I run with basically the in-character equivalent of a diary room so I ask all of the players in character to tell me what's on their mind. Okay. So we're going to do that to get started. And then where they haven't met your character yet, you're just sort of along for the ride. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get you playing this session, although the record for another group is 4 sessions.
If you don't, I am here for the ride. I am perfectly okay to just sit here and bask in all of your talents.
So point giggle, it's what we do. It's all good.
Got it.
And awesome. Jamie has just muted and run away. So okay, there
Jamie
he is.
has
all
now
right.
Run back.
Yes.
And is unmuted.
No, just
putting jacket on. Okay, probably cold because winter in Australia.
Oh yeah, you guys have winter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you get winter also.
No, I live in Los Angeles. That's not true.
I live in Sydney. Yeah. It shouldn't be true.
Global warming.
Sam is in Brisbane. It's definitely not true.
Yeah, it's actually been colder here than it has been usual.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, cold here is different from cold elsewhere, but you know.
Yes.
So let's start out with my man Spider. Spider, how have you been? You had a big visit with an old friend last time, didn't you?
Sure did, and it went swimmingly, if I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried I was going to have to kill somebody. I was somewhat surprised that she knew I was coming, but other than that, we knocked out a business deal to keep supplies running once we get to Cliff Spider, which is just as I'd planned it, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, money in the pocket's better than blood on the floor.
That's right. Well, if we're going to need to launch an expedition to the middle of the Sky Anvil Plains, then we're probably going to need money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, Meisel. Apparently you're going to be doing some aviating soon.
Yeah.
As your alter ego. Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Spend a lot of time. I think it'll be good for Hio to get back into the world. I hope.
Mm-hmm. You realize that there is a itty-bitty potential risk with suddenly having a dragon, aviating the skies of the mountains and plains. Yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, not doing that hasn't exactly gotten us anywhere. So
fair enough. Yeah.
Might as well change things up and.
Yeah, a dragon reappearing for the first time in 1,000 years will definitely change things up.
At the end of the day, it's good helping people again. And I realize we got into this to mostly help ourselves, hopefully. But I guess we'd kind of forgotten. I mean, this is what we do. We help people.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're invested now, so.
All right. Alexandre, you had a visit with your grand-mère last session, last time we looked. That seemed pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Was it what you expected?
No.
What's on your mind these days, all of a sudden?
I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I don't know what to do, and I don't know why I'm doing it now either. So I don't know. I suppose I will. Spider wants to go to Cliff Spider, which now I understand why the name, but I suppose we'll go to Cliff Spider and then I don't know. I don't really want to go anywhere. I don't really want to do anything. Yeah. I don't know.
You sound a little lost.
I am a little bit, yes. Yes, I am. Sort of.
All right. So, as I recall circumstances, it was essentially, quote, the next morning, after you had all spent varying states of a restful night, and you guys were supposed to be leaving just before the dawn so that a dragon taking off from the outskirts of town would be something to be, just funny shadows in the gloom as opposed to dragon, which would,
Something occurred to me after we finished the show. I was about to say last week, but it wasn't a full week ago.
No, last weekend, in fact, yeah.
When we saw Elena, and there was that cabinet that Alexandre had never seen open. It was clearly full of adventuring supplies, essentially weaponry, armor. Was there like a noticeable gap in the collection, I guess? Like, here are all these weapons. They may be a bit dusty, maybe sort of a sign that they haven't really been looked at or used for a while. And then there's this noticeable section where there was something and it's not there anymore. What my thinking being is, did Chevalier also keep his stuff there?
No.
Okay.
This is, that was exclusively her memoir locker, if you will.
Yeah.
One thing I realized possibly didn't come through in that scene. The reason there was one moment when you two were in the process of doing the trading memories, so that you would know Elena well enough to be able to scry on her. I asked you to make a perception roll based on prescience. And I realized after the show that I'd forgotten to explain to you why I did that. So to clarify, you temporarily were not actually seeing a memory.
Oh, interesting.
That moment of prescience was you functionally time traveling through memory. So that is why you were able to see a detail that Alexandre could not remember or would have excluded as the young girl. You weren't actually looking at Alexandre's memory at that point in time. You were looking at the actual event that happened.
Right, yes.
And that is why I asked for perception based on prescience. Okay?
Good to know.
Like I said, I realized after the fact that just because I said, hey, use this peculiar stat to make a roll, didn't necessarily mean you folks had any clue what it was I was on about. So, yeah, okay? Because by definition, that couldn't have been a memory, or Alexandre would actually be conscious of it, if you understand what I mean. Yeah. But the whole point of that, it was literally an angle. The viewing angle was an angle that young Alexandre could not perceive.
Okay. I love when Sam's actually making notes. Like it's happened a lot over the last two episodes, and I kind of go, "Wow, you're going to turn page again?"
I'm actively trying to be better.
Actively trying to be better.
But also, I have a character that has ways of collecting information that other people don't, so I can't rely on them to remember.
Yeah. Okay. One second, I just realized I foo-fooed something. Copy that here. Please hold GM housekeeping, and that should be a 17. There we go. Yeah. So it is the pre-dawn outside of the free city of Dasseldorf. Somewhere not far, well, I'd say uncomfortably close to the waterfalls, but that's pretty much anywhere outside the city walls to the northeast, or to the northwest. But this is, much more so than usual. And, it's early morning. The far horizon hasn't quite lit yet. There's a dimness in the air. You are... Dasseldorf is is in the hills, but it is not much above sea level, right? And so, and you're not that. If you take a look at the map, you're actually not that far from the coast either. So the early morning sun will be lighting just the tips of the mountains to the northwest, turning them into this iridescent snow-capped white with shimmers of pearl and orange and red lancing off of them, twinkles of gold glittering. The moons will be fading, and there is going to be a group of people marching away from the city towards the waterfall. It's kind of chilly. It's your mid-spring. It's a chilly morning. You're more to the north than you were a month or two ago, and that in its own way has pushed spring backwards, I guess, is the best way of explaining how it feels here. There is a certain amount of just heaviness in the air, as though some great momentous moment is about to drop itself, and none of you can really pinpoint what that might be. So yeah. And of course the group of adventurers would be you folks heading towards a location close enough far enough away from the city that if the town guard, like I say, sees a small cavern-sized dragon leaping into the morning sky, they aren't going to start ringing alarm bells and loading ballista. Or dying of heart attacks, whichever.
All right.
And it's Origami Kid time. What are you folks talking about as you walk?
Nothing.
There is stony silence. What?
It's the early morning, and we had a big chat last night. I buy us walking pretty quietly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, we know we're about to see Meisel do the origami thing, and just uncomfortable expectation.
I mean, Alexandria's not even thinking about that. That's going to be a surprise, and it might result in throw up. Who knows? But but yeah, Alexandria's not talking.
Okay. Well, by virtue of an absence of chit chat, there's not a lot to see here, and thus we fought.
The birds.
Yes. Much and sie flapping.
Okay, good. Are they? They're not too cold.
Oh no, they're way too busy running around in circles. And look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look. Yeah. Oh, look at this! And one of them's hanging off of, upside down off of someone's earring, and we're gonna get to see a dragon. We're gonna get to see a dragon. What's a dragon? Etc.
Have they forgiven Spider?
I hope not.
For what?
For starting to squish one.
I didn't squish one. I was just holding it.
No, they've had breakfast. It's all good.
They've had breakfast. They don't care. Okay, cool. So they also have ADHD. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Hey.
Attention span of a 3-year-old in an IRC chat room without a spacebar. I mean, that's.
There's no need to attack me. It is not even.
So fair enough. You folks will find an appropriate place. I need someone to make a power level check to do their alter self thing, I believe.
No.
No, it's just a thing.
I spend a focus. I think it's just a focused action.
Oh, okay. Well, carry on then. Go ahead and
that.
Go ahead and character change, and we'll talk about flying.
Well, why don't you describe in excruciating detail what it looks like for Danny, who has not seen this before?
And I think Phoebe is also in chat, and Phoebe is a fan of body horror, so a little bit of horror. Little bit, not big bit, just little bit.
Alternate forms feet. Thank you, Great Mustache. By the way, for those of you in the audience, either presently or past or future tensely, Great Mustache is the guy who owns the company that writes the game we play. So if he says, "Hey, it's probably that rule," he's probably right.
Yeah. Thanks, Jam.
It's nice to have the guy who wrote the rules in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I was toying with the idea of, depending on like the landscape, of having a way of transforming without it being too jarring. But if we want it to be jarring,
so the short version is the area around here is best described as Scottish lowlands. Nice. Rolling hills, random boulder, random Volvo-sized boulder of the month club, small cranky upset plant, and badly arranged carpet. Okay.
The 80s?
That's where my mind went to.
We just walked into the 80s.
A lot of boulders in the 80s.
Yeah, particularly Volvo-sized ones. I mean, what?
Yeah, they probably. And Meisel's been looking around, and he went off and found a place that
his scouting has already been done. Yes,
he could transform because he wanted to have what passes as conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sort of fought when they get there. He's. I think this will probably do. To
Yeah.
In our like from the map, I know we have to go sort of vaguely southwest to get to where we need to go.
Yeah.
Did we need anything? Would we have needed anything more than that, or did we actually need to get like a map or something? Or given that we're flying?
Okay, so
would that be counted under adventurers gear that we purchased?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing too is keep in mind you're basically talking about knowing how to find a major city. That is I mean, you're heading southwest from Dasseldorf. Dasseldorf, and the other thing you all know is it's literally fly to the waterfall, go to the top, and follow the river.
Also fair.
Just to let people know also, because new time, new things to learn or new things to know. If you are watching on your computer and you have a phone and you would like to see the map of which we speak, it is on that QR code. So if you go to the QR code that is on the layout, you will find the maps. Designed by Michelle.
I was going to say that my soul has the vagabond perk, which previously has just meant that he always seems to have miscellaneous food. It also means he always knows the direction of true north. So if it's if the thing is just like just go south, there's probably a moment where he's just like, I need to go south. So he sort of orients himself as like so that he can be like that way, and then maybe someone else is no, just follow the river. It's like yes.
That is literally part of why Cliff Spider is at where it's at. If you take a look at the map, geographically speaking, so the Duchy of Spearcleft, which is the area that Dasseldorf owns, is a client state stuck in the argument between the Empire of the Burning Lash and the Progress Confederacy, right? But it's primarily under the influence of the Confederacy. Not actually that cozy with the Burning Lash. You do folk from the Burning Lash here. It's just too big a chunk of land for merchant princes to ignore. But the reason that the Confederacy put Cliff Spider where it's at is because literally there's this massive inland river that the waterfall is the thing that Dasseldorf got built beside, right? That is the waterfall that heads inland. So it's not a coincidence it worked out that way. It was literally done that way as the easiest way to get somewhere, for lack of a better way of putting it. Okay? So and so anybody you would have spoken to in the city would have literally they wouldn't have even bothered saying southwest. They just would have said, top of the waterfall, follow the river. And then they would have told you any of the bush pilot, and that's practically the route that any of the bush pilots follow. So, right. Mostly because there's that bloody big mountain there and that bloody big mountain there, and the gap between them is the river. Okay, right?
My soul would go up to Alexandre and just say, just remember that you might need to do something about the air for yourself and Spider, depending on how high you need to go.
Okay.
So, and there's this moment where it's like this 12-year-old's like, do I need to say more?
No, if I can't breathe, I'll do something about it. Either you're gonna go down, or I'm going to do something about it. So.
If I can't breathe, I won't be able to tell you. Maybe we should do it now.
Yeah.
The problem is, right now, if you can't, if you won't be able to tell the difference now.
Yes.
You'll only be able to tell the difference there.
Asphyxiation blue looks good on nobody. I'm just saying as a color palette.
It doesn't just
I can make anything look good randomly as long as it doesn't narrate things a story, so I'm just letting you know.
It won't just like cut out. It just gets a little thin.
Yes.
You'll notice it before it becomes a problem.
And if we don't, we've passed out already.
I think it.
So comforting. Thank you, Alexandri.
You're welcome. I'm helpful.
There's probably a degree that like I don't know if Alexandria would notice, but Spider potentially notices that Mysol is kind of stalling. But then he sort of steps, makes sure there's room around him. Okay, I'll see you in a moment. And then because we want a detail, it looks a bit like Mysol is sort of bending over initially, but it quickly becomes apparent that it's more like he's folding into himself. And as he folds in, something else is folding out. And it's initially, this scaly forelimbs, and then wings, and then more and more, and it's getting larger and filling up this space until the child goes away entirely, and this sort of 15-foot tall, however long, dragon is standing in his place. We'll just shift that picture. There we go.
Flirtatious dragon. That dragon's flirting with everyone. Everyone.
Saucy.
It is quite apparent. Probably more so because when last time you saw here Fondracel was you underground. It was quite dark, and even if with magical vision, it's still not quite. You just got this sense of size. In daylight, it is just this presence that Hio has that is both sort of awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time, is sort of much more apparent. It's also apparent that wasn't noticeable before, but he's like wearing some gear, like slightly protective gear, I guess. That's clearly been fitted.
Is this a dragon in armor? What?
Potentially, yeah.
They're allowed to protect themselves.
That is so cute in my head. So cute.
Sorry, all I noticed was we're getting that weird thing where Jamie is every once in a while. Jamie's caption is always once in a while
Jamie's
reading. Yeah, and what happened is is that a dragon wearing Ahmed?
Is that?
And I went.
I'm sorry, dragon is not wearing Ahmed. Ahmed, you're fine. You're safe. I mean, Auckland, you're also fine.
So yeah, that's a thing. We'll just point. So yes,
I don't think it'd be immediately apparent. Again, maybe Spider is more sort of perceptive and that sort of stuff, but it's clearly the sort of the scales don't have armor over them, but there's like the softer underbelly, and other areas. The sort of out of character stuff is that as they went backwards in development, there was a point where there was concern that the scales weren't enough, whereas previously it wouldn't have mattered.
Does anyone here read Girl Genius by chance?
Not for a while.
Okay. I adore Phil Foglio's artwork. So all I can see right now is it's 3 panels of the first panel is Alexandri standing up at one edge of the panel. There's another blank panel in between, which is just hills and stuff, and another panel which is Spider at the extreme right. And what you see is 2 little lines going with the caption "Zoop" across and over to Spider, and the next picture is a close-up of Spider with 2 little bird heads poking up from his collar.
Correct.
Nice to see you again, Hio.
It's good to see you as well. Nice to be, well, in the sun.
Indeed. You ready to go for a little joyride?
Yes. It has been far too long.
Any advice on the whole riding you thing?
Spider, please.
What?
I know. Just.
I would
There's no
recommend...
saddle. I've never ridden a dragon before.
I know. It's just the way you said it. I know you like reptiles. I'm just saying. Like, just be cool.
Jesus, get your mind out of the gutter.
No.
Brief moment, just brief shot of Hio's eyes going a little bit wide, and then sort of. Like, oh god, it's happening again. I don't understand what's going on.
I need to be noble and dramatic, and I've no clue what's going on now. All right then. So yeah. So I guess Alexandri and Spider will be clambering aboard a dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if he does have any advice about like where to hold on, etc., I will follow it very carefully.
I imagine he. Yes.
I imagine he yes.
Well, look, I don't know enough about riding to be in like what would be the best way to do this.
You, Sam, have never actually ridden a dragon.
I have never ridden a dragon, but I feel that here would
the
know
actual
how to...
big problem is just do the math for a second. So I'm 6 feet tall. From there to there is just a smidge under 2 feet, i.e. about 1/3. It's about, a 1/4 proportion for most people, unless you're particularly broad-shouldered. So if the dragon is 15 feet long, then 25% would be 4 feet across at the shoulders. Let's just say y'all sitting cross-legged or side saddle.
Yeah, that's what I like.
I think he's like tip to tail. He's longer than 15 feet.
He's a minibus.
But like,
he's a minibus. Yeah.
He's almost broader than Alexandria's long.
Yes, that was the point I was trying to make. Like,
we aren't riding him like a horse. We're
just going to say it just
riding him like a magic carpet.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. And if you again, I mean, if he's standing 4 legs to the ground, Alexandri can walk under him without touching belly. Okay. I mean, no, I mean, like, hair doesn't touch scale if she walks under him, kind of thing.
Right.
So, if he drops down belly to the ground, she's still going to need a ladder to get up onto his shoulder. Okay, just perspectives. This is a big okay, this is a big
So
beast.
small.
Help, please.
So I think there's going to be a little bit of I think there's going to be a little bit of I'm not going to say it, comedy, but I think there's going to be a certain amount of, well, we hadn't thought of this part. It's been, before he just kind of jumped on and we went off and we went flying. I don't understand what the problem is.
It probably, like, given that he's got, I mean, it's sort of like a chest plate, I guess.
Yeah.
But the straps for that,
by definition, there's something that's got to go across his shoulders, down his spine, and across.
Would be useful for people to hold on to. It's not necessarily designed for that, but it.
No, but I think it winds up being a little bit. There's going to be a good 10-minute span of Spider doing creative rope work while Alexandre that's not going to work before flight testing ensues. And by which flight testing involves, Hio standing up and giving an experimental ripple of the shoulders to see if everyone goes flying or not.
I mean, we both have pretty good dexterity.
Yep.
This is on the list of things that Meisel probably would have been able to help with and forgot.
Thanks, Meisel.
Yeah, good of you to be here when we need it. This is one of the things about Open Legend by definition is that we don't make die rolls, and this is as much for Danny's benefit as anything else. We don't make die rolls if it's not critical to the plot line. So I'm not going to, with D&D, there would be the temptation to get a couple of die rolls just for the amusement value of it. Just to see how long does it take them to figure out an arrangement that works. But I'm just going to say that there's going to be a little bit of Keystone Cops, and then we're going to see the group flying off into Heo basically getting to claw sky for the first time in some time. So Heo, what is Heo's top speed while flying?
Pretty sure. Mechanically, I'll double check
30
this.
feet.
It's just the same as your regular movement.
Right.
So you could essentially dash as well. So it's like
well, and because you have quote nothing else to do, that would be what you would be doing, right?
It's just equal to your normal speed. So
right,
just 30.
I
don't think the size changes the speed.
Yeah. Okay. And I was just curious if you had. By the way, the water, just for perspective, the waterfall I'm kind of basing the one not far from Dasseldorf on is Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. So the total height of that waterfall, that initial lift, is merely 100 meters. Right. But when you're at the bottom of it, it looks fairly tall. And it makes a hell of a racket, right? I mean, that's the thing. So
there's a moment where he doesn't just take off. He could,
right.
He just isn't going to.
Okay.
Because he could just run up. He's like, everyone's holding on, make sure everyone's holding on tight, and then just sort of like runs up the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And with the sort of claws, he has the same climbing feat that Spider does.
Yeah.
So it's not just like take off from ground, fly. It was just sort of like run, jump off at a certain height, and then swoop.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which was more for show than anything else, but.
Gotcha. So for those of you who are looking at the map, real fast, there is the better part of, oh gosh, what is that? It's 100 miles, I believe, flying inland that has to be done. I'm just trying to find my map scale here. That's 400 kilometers. Is that? So what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah. So each tick is 80 kilometers. Yeah, yeah, it would be close to 200 kilometers you're going to be flying that you'll be flying. Most of it through mountains. It's going to be a little while before you get there.
Great Moustache is saying there is in and out of combat you can consider, and if in the world flight of a large creature is faster, it can be so. It's up to you. The flight boon can be faster, but the feat of flight is tied to normal speed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it can take as long as you would like it to, basically.
Yeah. Moving at plot appropriate speeds, yes.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm just double checking. So it's going to be about 200 kilometers. The good news is that, for lack of a better way of putting it, is that there's not that much room. There's not that much that's going to get in your way. There's going to be a really awkward moment with a really, really confused golden eagle who's trying to figure out what the hell do I'm just leaving. Bye. Golden eagle swoops in to take a look. Golden eagle continues. Wait a second, that's a whole lot closer than I thought. Backpedal.
This is not prey.
This is definitely no. It's that thing you get into when your brain says, "Oh, it's that wide. It's got to be on the other side of the room," and then it pokes you in the nose. Yeah. So the golden eagle has got like a 12-foot wingspan on it, and it's one of the biggest eagles. Sort of the equivalent. And so it's used to something that long being way down there. No, it was only about 100 meters. Hail was only about 100 meters away. So hail and all those teeth was a whole lot closer than it anticipated. So like I say, there's an awful lot of flailing and backpedaling going on for a few moments as you guys continue to climb.
Question: does Hayo just like snatch it out of the air and because that would no? Okay, cool. Is Hayo vegan? Because I feel like Hayo would be vegan. He strikes me as the type.
That's what happens for the whole flight. Talk about the benefits.
Just
Your in-flight entertainment is the lecture on veganism.
The whole thing.
So, out of curiosity, hang on a second here. What's Hayo's fortitude by chance?
It's 4.
4. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, he's pretty solid. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so tiring is not a thing you really need to worry about with him. So yeah, all right, you'll be able to put in a steady 4 hours of flight without any issue. How do I explain what you're looking at? I'm not sure there's an easy parallel that I can use. So the Sky Anvil plane is at 10,000 feet. The mountains around it, the valleys wobble. Most of the valleys are above 16,000. I'm working here in feet just for even, but you essentially roughly divide by 3 if you're working in meters. Why that's important is at 12,000 feet, most non-trained, non-athletes run out of oxygen and their brains shut off.
Oh. I'll get my dice ready then, I guess.
And so, now, again, this is part of the reason that this is the route that was used, is this river and waterfall. At a certain point, it's steaming constantly. Because once you get up about 5,000 feet, the pressure is low enough that the boiling point of water has changed. And then combine the fact that wherever this river is coming from, in spite of its altitude, is apparently a warm water source, and there is this constant curling mist rising up away from these fairly expansive waterway. The river itself plows through a set of long gone glacier cut valleys. Okay. At its narrowest, it's about 50 meters / 100 feet wide at its narrowest. In some of the places where the valley widens out a fair amount, again, it's a 200-kilometer run. It's going to take you 200 kilometers is 140 miles, if you say, or thereabouts. You know, if you say that Heo is able to pull 70 miles a day in flight, basically twice the speed you could expect of a heavy warhorse. And no terrain effects other than don't run into that. Is flying the valley, as low to the valley as possible for comfort of the passengers, so they have time to acclimatize to the air change, right? The pressure change, the tightness in the lungs. It's 2, maybe 3 days that it'll be for you guys to get up to Cliff Spider of constant flying. But yeah, so over that 200 kilometers, 3-day run that you guys will be cruising along, during which point in time, by the way, everything with anything higher than an animal intelligence digs a hole and hides. And the things with an animal intelligence were hiding before Heo came around the corner. It's a preternatural reaction. Everything in this world still remembers what a dragon is at a gut level. There's just no other way of explaining. You guys will come around a corner and there's a herd of caribou at a full stampede trying to go up the sides of the valley as Heo is flying along the river. The world understands that Heo is the most powerful force that it has ever seen. Dragon space.
Hasn't even met Alexandra yet.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I don't use the phrase genetic memory. It's overused, but it's somewhere in that space where people might be dumb enough to argue with the dragon, but nature doesn't seem inclined to do so. Mm-hmm. So they have an excellent PR team. There's an entire bunch of folks over Lake Geneva who've been writing about them for years. So yeah, there is. Yeah, so at its narrowest point, it's 100 meters. It's 50 meters wide. 150 feet. At its widest, it's wider than a rugby stadium. The river you guys are following. This is a huge piece of water that's pouring. It's not a raging torrent, but paddling upstream. There are many places where paddling would take a lot of energy out of you. Waterfalls are out of the question. This is a huge body of water, which begs the question, I suspect anyone who studied geography, of where's all this water coming from? Right? So, you folks, the other thing which is going to be interesting is at some point in the day, you're going to meet, or get, I'm not going to say buzzed, that's the wrong term. I'm not going to say avoided, because that's not it either. It's somewhere in the, really curious what the hell that is, staying well away from it. You're guessing it's one of the Fulzixi. It's a slightly taller than human build bird with obvious humanoid features about it. It's what makes it different, for example, than the golden eagle is it's wearing a toque, a scarf, and a woolen jacket as it's flying.
Cute. I'm pretty sure Spider has met Foxity before.
I couldn't remember if you had.
Oh.
Who did we lose? Oh,
Sam.
Sam just went poof. Okay, Sam has done the poof. Please hold. We're depoofing the Sam.
It's my favorite sentence you've ever said.
All right.
Hey.
We back.
Yeah.
Returned is us.
Yes, we have depoofed the Sam, so we can resume the show. Okay.
The internet deemed me acceptable once again. The fool!
Oh, I'm so
no.
sorry.
Oh, that was a
I'm
bad
so
choice.
sorry.
Oh, hang on. Move things around. Let's do that. Did it. I fixed it. I am a fixer of most things, but not all things.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss
Right.
something?
That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And
like
better
it.
than anyone could expect. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, 3 days are going to go by. A couple of points to remind everyone. On average, the relationship is 1 degree Celsius per 100 meters of elevation.
As in boiling point changing.
No, as in air temperature dropping.
Yeah, cold.
Oh.
It's very, very cold up here.
Yes. I expect
So,
cold.
by the time you hit 10,000 feet, there are a few places you're going to be well up over 10,000 feet. There are a few places you're going to be well up over 14,000 feet. So, divide that by 3. That's 40 degrees temperature drop.
I was just trying to imagine what Spider's cold weather gear looks like. I couldn't help myself but picturing him in an ASIC tracksuit set, slab squatting on top of a dragon.
Yeah, that would be about right if Alexandria hadn't been the one to buy your clothes.
Exactly. You did the shopping, so I'm sure I'm
Yeah.
much more fashionable than that.
There was a point where it was an option. And Alexander was just like,
No.
That's not how this works.
No, we're not doing that. No, not at all.
So yeah, there's going to be a few extended periods where it's going to be well below freezing, as you guys are flying up this way. At some point, as I say, you're going to get, like I say, not buzzed, not avoided, but respectful distance yet curious by members of the. I'm having a bad word. Yes, thank you. 60. Some of them are just really flying fast, and others are essentially towing what look like sleds. But the best way of explaining is it looks like a imagine Santa's sleigh sitting on top of a Zodiac, where the runners have been replaced by inflated type pontoons, but they're actually it's kind of like miniature airship balloons, if you will, as a look. And one of them is towing something. Yeah.
I request clarification in this context. What do you mean by Zodiac?
It's a type of boat.
Thank you.
It's the one where the outside edge is a inflated tube.
I see. Thank you. Got it.
It's kind of like saying Kleenex, right? Zodiac was the original manufacturer, so all boats of that design were called Zodiacs.
So you brand named, and I was confused as hell.
Yeah. The term there's the term that's sort of come more generic lately is RIB, rigid hull inflatable boat. Same idea.
I still wouldn't have got that, but I'm just glad I know now. Thank you.
Yeah. So it looks like a pontoon, but it looked like Santa. It looks like a steampunk Santa sleigh sitting on top of a pontoon boat. It's the best description I can give you. I'm still wrong, but it's as close as I get. Being towed, being towed
Still
by.
wrong, says the designer of such the.
Well, I can't come up with word. This is one of these times where I wish I could draw, because I would love to be able to get this vision out of my head and say, "See how cool this is," but that's just not going to happen today. Okay.
You keep describing. I'll start sketching. It's fine.
And yes, so one of these, one of the winged folk seemed more than capable of dragging one of these things behind them slightly faster than Heo can manage forward flight. Without one, they're clearly moving about half again his speed. There are going to be some really odd looks, I guess is going to be the best way of putting it, between them. Like, you know, like, what the heck is... hey, George, what? George, where'd you go? I was going to ask you what... Never mind, if George left, I'm leaving too. I'm out of here, bye. Those kind of moments. But you guys have got 3 days of cold weather camping at high altitude to do before you arrive in Cliff Spider. Anything you guys want to do, say, talk about on your trip?
I was going to point out that Heo could potentially keep them warmer, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, obviously enough, this is where creation magic / life support comes into handy, right? I can't remember if it's protection or if it's creation, but
I think I could do like an aura of like cold resistance.
Yeah,
essentially.
And then I could do sustenance, and between us we have air and temperature covered for the most part. KJ, please don't make suggestions like that. Hero's not going to barbecue us, right?
We don't know if Heo can breathe fire yet.
I don't want to know. Did you think about that? Did you consider that? Actually, I don't want to know.
You assume it's just fire. I mean, what?
I hope it's fire. Because that would be nice and warm right now.
Alexandre, you know, we're going to have to redisguise ourselves when we get to Cliff Spider.
Why?
For the obvious reason.
Which is?
There is a bounty on our heads.
Always the bounty.
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
Then who will you be?
I don't know. Who will I be?
You'll have to think about it.
I'm not very good at lying, so...
That's not true, Alexandre.
We believe in you.
What?
I mean, shots fired.
Wait, hang on. Alexandre gets confused because the fact that that's not a lie is now being called a lie, and does that make it a lie?
You weren't very good at lying. You've gotten better.
Not mechanically.
I'm not saying you should go around trying to con people out of their life savings, but when you say who you are, people tend to believe you. You just need to not say that you're Alexandre Donadieu.
Okay, so who do I say I am?
Well, that's what you've got to work out.
Ah, shit.
I can't do all the heavy lifting for you.
Well, could I use my middle name? Or some of it?
How long is it?
It's quite long.
If that helps, I don't think it would be a problem.
GM.
Uh-oh.
So, the second of Alexandre's middle names is Aerith. Would Alexandre consider... I don't know, that's a question for me, isn't it? Alexandre wouldn't consider that. Never mind. I rescind my even bothering to ask.
Carry on as though normal.
Thank you. Okay, what if I just say that my name is Aerith Nomea?
Works for me.
Okay. Because that's my name also, so I'm okay with that. I'm still not lying.
It's not the name that's on the bounty, and that's all that matters to me.
Okay. Now I just have to remember to respond to it.
Well, you'll do that, won't you, Aerith? Aerith! Well done.
I did it. Okay.
We can practice. I was planning to return as Teddy Tarantino, but I think we may need a new cover story.
Okay. Which one are you going to use?
Well, I don't think Gunther is a good idea. A little bit too conspicuous.
Why?
The horns, mostly.
Oh, you're talking about... Oh, that's his name?
Do you listen to anything I tell you?
Not always, no. Not often, no. No.
We will likely have to explain Meisel's presence unless he plans to keep himself hidden the entire time we're there. You're a little young to be a mother.
Yes.
We could aid you up a little bit.
What? No. Why?
So that you would pass as Meisel's mother.
Why would I want to pass as Marcel's mother?
It's a lie.
We've talked about how I feel about those.
All right. So
I feel like someone's not listening here.
I know,
Just
right?
one?
I keep saying it. It's not changing anything.
Right then, siblings, I guess.
Okay. I mean, I'm half elf, so that works.
Different fathers. I'm just brainstorming here.
Why?
Because we need a story.
Oh. Oh, this is why. This is how much you do? Oh my god.
This is step one.
I have... where do you put all of your, like, you thoughts?
What do you mean?
So much thinking about not you. So where do you put, like, the you thoughts?
I have a tiny little box inside my backpack, and I keep it locked very tight with 3 separate keys. They're made of different metals, gold, silver, and bronze. And if you can answer these riddles 3... I just used my brain, Alexandre!
You know, until you said the different keys, then it could have just been Chevalier's soul. So, frankly speaking, you should probably be a bit more careful.
That's your box, in your backpack.
No, that's Chevalier's box in my backpack.
I don't have a magic box in my backpack.
Well, maybe you should. And then you would have somewhere to put all of your thoughts. Because they seem very confused right now.
You've just given me a very good idea.
Oh no.
Or maybe a very dangerous
No,
idea.
no. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is.
Don't
Okay.
do it.
Counter offer.
No,
Do
now
it.
I want to know what it is. I want to know what it is, and I don't want you to do it.
Well, I don't know that I can do it, but it would be interesting.
No, don't do it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a lie, and I'm scared.
I don't know if I want to do it.
What is it?
You talked about being good or bad at lying, and about separating my thoughts from the thoughts of the person I am pretending to be. If I could actually magically lock away my thoughts,
Then you would be a completely different person.
but I would be entirely believable.
You would be a completely different person. It's not believability. You stop being the person that you were before.
Until I open the box.
Unless that person doesn't want to open the box.
They don't. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get locked in the box.
Might be better person though, so.
That would be a terrible shame.
Only for you in the box.
And for the world at large.
Only for you in the box.
If you and Mysel are going to be siblings, who am I to you?
Spider.
Yep.
Or Jasper. Or Gunther. Or Teddy Tarantino. Or that guy with a clock. Or... Well... What your family called you when you were younger?
Awkward stare moment.
Yeah. Narrowing of the eyes.
Even Hio noticed that it was uncomfortable.
I could pass for Mysel's father.
Okay, so Mysel can be your son, and then I don't need to be a mother or a sibling.
It would
I
make
just
me
am
your
me.
stepfather.
No, thank you.
Right.
Because children are expected to do what their parents say, and I don't. That's not. I mean, even lying, I can't. I just can't.
Have you ever met a teenager who did what their parents told them to?
Me?
Liar.
Alexandri, where are we?
On the back of a dragon, somewhere between Cliff Spider and Dusseldorf.
What do you think your parents think about that?
I didn't ask them.
Exactly.
Well, I can't be, not doing what they tell me to do if I don't ask them.
If you know what they would say,
I don't know what they would
say.
say.
It's the same thing.
That's the problem right now. I don't know what they would say.
You think your parents would say, "Oh yes, go fly on the dragon into the most dangerous unclaimed lands in all the continent"?
I have no idea.
All right.
I don't have anything at all that is contextually close to anything that is happening right now, so I have no idea.
I mean, I
Never mind
can't
that the
disagree with
person
this
writing
picture.
is a known criminal who you've watched kill people. To be fair, I think I've watched you kill more people in the time we've been together. But...
Yeah, I know how they would feel about that. Not good.
We'll have to think about it. Because I'll need to be able to come and go and talk to people in the city. in order to set up our funds.
And what exactly do you expect me to do?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
But the plan is to keep looking for a way to get to the mountain. And find your song.
Maybe.
You giving up?
I don't know.
It seems like the closer we've gotten, the less compelled you've been.
Maybe.
I've always thought that one of your few charming features was that you were utterly convinced of your own righteousness. Don't lose that.
Spider, I don't even know where to start with what you just said. It's difficult to be righteous if you don't know what you're doing.
Do you not know what you're doing?
No.
Hio, do you know what we're doing?
I do not know what this song wishes of you.
But you think it can bring back Chevalier?
I think we can bring back Chevalier.
That seems like as good a place to start as any.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of story that bards write about. Journeying to the center of the continent to bring back a lost friend.
Mm-hmm.
Or save your idiot brother.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably get moving again.
Yeah.
All right then. Any other scenes that need to happen on the way?
Just checking. I can tuck the robins just into my hood because, frankly, they would be like, "Oh yeah, we're having a great time."
Wait for me.
I feel like there would just be a point where we did have to go back for them.
I think it has a little bit. Still going. Kind of like, but there are like three dragon lengths behind and fading fast.
Is there a moment where the two of them reenact the the King of the World scene from Titanic on Hio's head? One of them just being like,
no, actually, but there is a really comical moment where one of them is hanging onto your tail, which is snaking through the wind, and the other one's hanging onto the other one ahead of it, snaking through the wind. I've never flown this fast. We haven't flown before, you dummy. So yeah,
So I just realized that these two birds plus Alexa are maniacs, and I'm so
Which is Alexa, but which though?
Yep.
Which one? Just all of them.
Yep.
Thanks. Thanks. So we're not from what was the last connection? Spy Kids. We were Spy Kids before.
It's a good one too.
Mhm. Yeah.
What's it been like for Spider and Alexandre flying?
Cold. Very cold. I think Alexandre would have just been staring at the landscape passing. And that's a really convenient, like the cold and the wind is a really convenient way to cry. Because it looks like you're doing it anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, that's been her.
I think Spider got over the terrified bit pretty early on, because like once they were in the air and going, like I remember the first time I flew in an airplane and I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I don't think that like wonder goes away in a few days when you've spent your entire life bound to the ground. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It helps that, you know, Spider is very good at not falling off things.
Yes. Yeah, for lack of a better way of putting it, if Spider decides he's not falling off, he's just not falling off, and that's the end of the discussion, short of actual intentional acrobatics on Heo's part, right?
No. I think the most stressful bit was when we ran into the Full City, because Spider had to like make a snap decision whether to try and shoot them out of the air.
Yes. You know, we've just been seen. Do I drop this one or not?
Yeah. I think they kept like enough distance that he was like, they're not going to know who that was, and still no one's going to believe them. And even if the Full City know, they're very good at like keeping secrets, so it's probably fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, part of the Wingfold reputation is they keep their beaks shut unless well paid. And I don't mean that in a cynical way. They're very much a none of my business culture. They're all of them are in it for different reasons, why they're helping the various empires, why they're flying the various routes they are, and not all of them are bush pilots. Only, in fact, a small percentage of them are. An awful lot of them have just picked places to set up villages in the mountains, and they're quite content that way. Of the 10,000 or so that are understood to have just arrived one afternoon, there's maybe a couple of percent are actually, in any given area are actually actively bush pilots. And they understand that, talking about what it is they've been doing is a very good way to wind up unemployed. If they can't be trusted to keep their beaks shut, then they're not going to get work. So, generally, discretion is something they're all very good at. As much culturally as by, as much culturally as by economic necessity of this world. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alexandria's just sitting
Okay.
and being as quiet as possible.
So the barrier range has a crescendo to it, is the best way of putting it. So, if you will, the 200 odd kilometer gap of the mountains, it's very much, mentally think of the Andes, very 45-degree angle mountains, sheer cliffs in some places, mountain peaks that are blowing snow into the air, permanent white caps above the frost line, hurricane force winds in some areas channeling down valleys, trees that are growing out of the ground at greater than 45 degree off of vertical positions because of the constant influence of the wind. And the highest peaks in the mountains are, well, Everest is 5 miles. That would be 25,000 feet. There's nothing in this area that's quite so tall, but there are an awful lot of things around here that hit 20,000 feet, right? Which I think is 6,800 meters, just for those people who speak that number. 20,000.
I don't speak numbers.
Yeah. 6 kilometers.
How many Chantels is that, out of curiosity?
If a Chantel is expected to be somewhat slightly less than 6 feet tall, then
less.
20,
Almost a foot less than that, but okay.
Then that would be 4,000 Chantels. That's still not a that is still not a manageable number for most people.
I mean, no, I wouldn't expect that to be a manageable number of Chantels. So
the catch is that so if you will, in geology, the average slope of a mountain on Earth is about 45 degrees. So if it's 20,000 feet tall, 4 miles tall, it's 4 miles wide. Okay. There's going to be parts of it which are sheer. There's going to be parts of it which are less so. When you get down towards down towards the low areas of it, the slope flattens out to a merely 22%. For those of you who've tried going up anything greater than about a 5% grade, it's hard on the knees. 22% is basically, hang on, I need a rope and grapnel. Or I'm going to be walking, or I'm going to be in pain by the time I get anywhere, right? You need walking sticks to do 22%. 45% is like trying to hoof up a long elevator at a subway where the elevator's turned off. For a couple of hours. That's a 45-degree incline, right? Really steep escalator with the power turned off, but do it for 2 hours.
No, thank you.
So on the other side of the mountain, range, there is a brief inner valley that goes around the plateau. It's a dozen kilometers wide, maybe, at its most. It kind of undulates. There aren't so much lowlands on this side as you just, come tearing out of the, you come flying out of a valley, and you're looking at a rock wall in the distance that goes straight up. Right. From this distance, 10 kilometers away, it's only about as high as your thumb, and you think, we'll be there, no problem. It's just that and then an hour later, it's twice as tall as your thumb, and then you're going, oh, it's not short, it's far away. I got it now. So the floor of the valley is 8,000. The floor of the gutter, if you will, that runs around the plain is 8,000 feet. The plateau is at 10,000. So you've come down, from the crescendo of the middle of the mountain range, you've come down, almost half the distance you went up. Let's just be clear, without magic, you would have frozen to death or suffocated. Yeah. Right. Now, you're avoiding the parts that are 20,000 feet, obviously. Why would you go that high that's literally hurricane force winds and blizzard and perpetual blizzard conditions. Heo wouldn't do that to himself if he had a choice. But like I say, the valleys through that region are all at 16,000 feet. right? A mile lower, sure, but still still damn near a mile above the point where you black out. At those altitudes, Heo is basically flying nap of the earth. Slightly higher than the stunted trees, and exceedingly surprised it's a cross between a wildebeest and a giraffe is the best explanation for what the critter looks like. Only it has 8 legs instead of 4. And they gallop funny. Yes, they gallop really funny.
You ever seen a horse skitter?
No, not that, not skitter, not that word.
That's a good word.
It is that way. I was just going to say, it's very, very funny because the animal is twice as tall in the neck as the rest of the critter. So when you first see them, what you see is a whole bunch of butts sticking up in the air because they're in the process of noshing on grasses and things like that. And suddenly this forest of antlers stands up and all the heads rotate, owl-like rotate 180 degrees to look at Heo, and then they all have the reaction.
I'm glad they have that reaction, because I would have that reaction in the other direction.
And then it's an awful lot of sideways skittering, stampeding antlers and waving necks. It looks like a promenade of panicking flamingos that have 2 meter long antler sets on top.
Michelle,
I was kind of hoping that they react the way penguins react to aircraft, and that they just keep looking at it until but they just fall backwards. So if you fly over a group of penguins, you just watch them all just collapse.
Yes, the British Air Force found that out in the Falklands, which was hysterically funny.
Very funny.
Penguins are obsessive about anything that flies. They stare at it intently.
Aww.
And harriers hover.
That's like me staring at tall things. That's
you must not get anything done in the course of a day.
I sit down and I use the internet. Do you have any idea how much I get done? If I'm sitting down, I'm the same height as everyone because I have a very long torso. So that's how it works for me. Little legs, long torso.
Mm-hmm. Yes, my one of my roommates before she passed was my friend's mom, and relatively short woman, 5 foot even. And I routinely would tease her that she was so short her feet barely touched the floor.
I hurt for her. I hurt for her. I hurt on her behalf.
I'm just gonna say, and Danny's trying not to lose it. Yeah.
I'm just not gonna look. That's if I'm not looking, I'm not insulted.
You've never heard that one. You've never heard that one before, Danny.
This is good. Introduce my friends to each other. This is a good idea.
That's it. She's done for the night. Good night, folks. We're over. That's it. We're out of here. Thank you. All right. So you folks get close enough to Cliff Spider to see it. Cliff Spider is built around a waterfall. This massive river that you've been following inland for 180, 200 odd kilometers has been slowly narrowing and accelerating as you've moved closer and closer and gotten through the mountains and up into this region. And the name suddenly becomes self-evident. The city is wrapped around the waterfall. It comes down the face of the waterfall by almost the length of a football stadium. It is built out from the wall and then literally around the spray zone of the waterfall. So you've got this massive column of water, 200 meters across, in some places, roaring down, surrounded by all these balconies and green spaces and terraces, and you can see people walking along over bridges with sheets of rainbow pouring across. And then the city literally goes up the side of the cliff and straight along in parallel are a set of bridges that traverse the river as the river disappears further into the land. By the way, the map is wrong. I will say that now. If you take a look at the actual map, it is drawn that the river ends in Cliff Spider. It doesn't. It actually veers. It veers to the northwest and departs Cliff Spider just about where the second F in Cliff Spider is. So it continues on through Cliff Spider towards right about where the tip of the second F is, and then veers off to the northwest along the axis of the plains.
So, queer question on that.
Yes.
If I use my magic music-y sense, is that the direction that the song goes in?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Good fun. Continue as usual. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I guess the best way of explaining where Heo, Cliff Spider did not exist, nor did any of the tribes that inhabit the region around it the last time you were here. So the only thing I can tell you is that there seem to be a few these winged folk you see coming and going. You've seen one about every 4 hours thus far. I think Danny's cam is frozen, by the way.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No, Danny's just very still.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Sorry, you're just the same pose for almost 2 minutes straight. I was thinking, did the camera freeze? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm just an attentive type. I was listening with
Lies.
my
I'm all
ears.
good with that.
You hit the dopamine.
I was listening. I was focusing.
Okay, cool. I couldn't tell if I put you to sleep or if your camera had frozen.
You got me. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. So I think the only thing. So you've seen one of these winged creatures, winged folk, go by about every 6 hours, and they seem to be alternating direction up and down the route you're taking. They're following the same route Heo is taking. And so I think the only thing I'll point out to Heo is as you're flying, getting closer, and beginning to ride the updrafts that surround the central plateau up into the air above Cliff Spider, and you can see this semicircular city that literally it's like someone had built the city out over the edge of the cliff and then folded it down against the cliff. That's literally what it looks like. It's a semicircle here and a semicircle there, and right at the point of the cliff, on the with the direction you're coming in would be the southeastern side of the city, there seems to be a really tall trio of towers with a cleared area in between them, where you're seeing at least two of the winged folk ahead of you making a straight line from, and you can see one going the other way, towing one of those odd flying sledge things. And so, at the risk of using a modern term that's kind of going to break the description, it looks like they have the equivalent of an airport or a landing field here. So I guess the question is a large dragon going to land at the landing field, or are you going to wander off somewhere into unmarked tribal territory, convert back to a small boy and his two young accomplices, and then try and walk back to the city?
Probably something we discussed along the way,
yeah.
but with it,
I think the plan was always to as soon as we got sight of the city, to walk the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the catch becomes it's a
cliff.
It's a 4,000 foot escarpment. What you can climb that, they can't.
Yeah.
is it? And we could potentially try and find somewhere to like land and look, I guess. But
Yes.
like, is there like non-flying access, or like does it seem like there's like a road or something that people who can't fly use?
No.
Fun.
Good times.
See, that is the historical catch. The entire reason that Cliff Spider and its opposed sister cities, its cousin cities, its really cranky step cousin cities exist, is because of the Vol 60. There was no way to get. That was the whole point of Cedric, of Lucas Elder great invention, the airship, would be the ability to get up to the central plane and explore it. It was the entire. He didn't take that airship to go look around the burning, the areas of the burning, of the Empire of the Burning Lash. He was doing exploration missions into the central plane, which up until that point, that mountain range was completely inaccessible, right? And so, no, the only reason Cliff Spider exists is because of the Vol 60, who have been flying cargo loads day in and passenger flights, if you will, bush piloting day in and day out for a decade.
There must be, like, a way, even if it is, like, some sort of transport with the Fuxiti from the plane up to Cliff Spider.
Well, perhaps, but then you'd have to land and look around for it. I mean, if the objective is not to be seen riding a dragon, by definition, scouting from Dragonback is going to void that is going to void that warranty. But literally, you folk, like, all you know about this place is the way up here is get a lift with a bush pilot from Dasseldorf. That's it.
Yeah.
If there's anything on the plains at the foot of the place, you don't know about it. And we're going to press pause for a moment. Danny, it's, let's see, this would be, at the point that we're discussing our heroes, would have been early morning. So we're going to actually crank the clock back about 2 hours.
Right.
And can you please explain what your character looks like?
So yeah, my character, Kazra, is, I want to say about 6.5 feet tall. So, sorry, Shawnee.
No, it's fine. It's all fine. Yep, 6.
She's got a sort of like a base color of sort of like blue and orange, with some iridescent reds and deep purples, but mostly you see like a very like light orange, yellow. She's a bird, so this is a humanoid, full 60 individual, I should say. Kind of, she's the younger one, I would say, and she is generally congenial. She doesn't really have the same features as you would see on an actual like human, so there's that. But she looks nice enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's a pretty bird.
She's a pretty bird. Full 60 have forearms rather than just the two. So there are wings and there are arms, and it's a thing. But they are, I guess,
yes, literally double jointed at the shoulder socket. Yes.
Caw. So she has. I just can't think of anything other than like a cross between like an Aarakocra and like if you know, like, since I'm new to this, a cross between like an Aarakocra and one of the Rito from Breath of the Wild.
Hey, that's a cool image. So I'm good with that.
That's my mind picture for Kazra. She I think she's got a sort of a vest rather than a jacket. She's wearing sort of like a leather sort of like a vest over. I guess wings and arms. I guess. I'm thinking about the of that there, and then she's got sort of a pack on and also a red scarf.
Okay.
We would probably find her in all likelihood shuttling up and down So that's where she'd be. She's sort of like towed behind by one of these things here. Yeah.
Okay.
These zodiacs.
Yeah. So you hang on a second. So you're going to have just finished one of your trips, I think is the best way of explaining it. You're going to be have just basically brought in a load of goods from down below. So the reputation that the non-winged folk have is y'all are very good at keeping secrets. The reality is you're very good at keeping secrets from everybody else who isn't full 60. The reality is y'all gossip like magpies. And so sort of, well, yeah, you know, you're all chatting. The tendency is you all chat with each other in your own language, obviously, and very few of this bunch have ever bothered to learn it. They all insist that you learn the standard language, which is theirs. So, okay, fine. But that, so you've learned, you know, what's your int skill by chance? Your int, as it were?
Let me double check that.
Learning?
This thing that I've never used.
Yes, your learning stat. My apologies. Learning.
My learning there. I have a 3 there. It looks like there's 3 there.
So you are able to speak 2 languages. Is the way.
Yeah.
I just take the learning stat and divide it by 2, and that's basically how many languages you are just automatically fluent in. So you've got your own, and you've got standard. You know,
okay.
You're going to have one of your friends, a slightly older chap, goes by the name of Piping Wheeze, will wander over to you. He's kind of rippling his shoulders after a long flight from the interior. He says, Dancing Feather told me he saw that she saw your friends on the way in. You were looking for a bunch of folks who apparently would be really, really obvious was the phrase you used. Apparently there's somebody really, really obvious about halfway. I don't know what that means. They did an awful lot of flapping and chirping. You know how she gets. Anyway, there's somebody really, really obvious about 5 kilometers out staring at the palisade. The palisade is what you folks all call the cliff wall. Staring at the palisade with an oh dear look on their face. So I don't know what conspicuous means. I don't know what really obvious means, but you said if you see anyone conspicuous or really obvious, let you know. We're looking out for you, girl.
It sounds like they desperately need a ride. Time to go.
Okay. Follow the river. Apparently, it's the big stand of blood gnarl use. Just you'll see, you know, it's the bright red ones just as you're heading down the river.
Yeah. No, I think I'll figure it out. I should probably be able to spot them from a mile out, huh?
You'd think. Like, again, really obvious was the phrase she used and then flapped a lot. So you got this.
She kind of does like this with her wings. His finger goes with her wings. She likes them. I think she sort of backs off, backs away, bids them adieu, and takes off. I think to go and find this obvious-looking group of sad wanderers.
Sure. So you're going to be tearing. What is your movement stat?
My movement stat. Now we talked about this. GM. Let's see. We talked about my movement stat needing to be a number.
It had to be at least a 3.
Okay, so it had to be at least a 3. That's what I was going to ask you. So I'm going to give that. I'm going to say that with them being at the level that they're at, that this one is movements at a 5. So that's
5. Okay.
The big one.
Yes. A 5 means that you are rolling 2d6 on a d20 plus 2d6 on any attribute checks. That's going to give you an average roll of 17 out of 20.
Nice.
For perspective, okay? So, bluntly, when you decide you're going somewhere, there aren't a lot of people keeping up with you. So, yeah, you're going to be, sort of doing a side stroke down the valley. when so you've got the river, it comes around the bend, you've got the little low hill with the blood gnarlwood on stand on top of it, and just over what the fuck is that? So there's this thing where your parents are from called the Ormungandar, and they're remarkably well known for eating entire flocks of you folks. There's one of them and two other people and two regular people standing there. Yeah. Yes, that is very obvious to you.
I think she's gonna stop like mid-air and just sort of before landing and just sort of, ooh, okay. Should I turn around? This wasn't a part of it. This definitely wasn't a part of it. Oh, Nope, sneaking up on it would be a bad idea. I think she's going to get as close as she possibly can, like within shouting distance, and wave.
And wave. Not making noise, just
no. Just up in the sky, like a Peter Pan, if you will. Yeah, she's like, we come in peace. It's like I think this is sort of a continued wave as she sort of like lowers down a little bit.
I mean, nothing escapes Spider's notice. So the Vol 60 that's been arrowing towards you now for the past 60 odd seconds is pretty bloody obvious.
Yeah.
I think the reaction at about 100 meters range is hysterical.
Well, I think like as soon as I can tell that there's one heading our direction, I turn to Hio and I say, Hio, it's been lovely, but I think we might need Mysel back.
Why?
There's someone coming.
Where?
I just like point at the speck in the sky.
little black, little iridescent dot in the distance.
Oh man, that's great.
If they have seen us, is it wise to connect Mysel to it, or to keep that deniable?
Good point, actually.
Well, you can't stay you, no matter what happens.
But in this moment, now, see what their intentions are.
Okay.
You're probably right, actually.
Why hands? Is this something Dixit do?
So let's see what their intentions are. Well, their entire body language is, oh God, please, I come in peace.
You
Think they would be afraid.
look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me before I come down there? Please. Thank you.
Are you going to eat them?
Considers it.
By the way, you have no clue what she's on about. Like, you've never seen one of these things before.
He's a vegan!
Oh, what?
Definitely don't know what that is.
I don't care what he is. He's got big teeth.
You do have big teeth. Not incorrect.
Hio's grasp of the trade tongue is
Oh.
body.
Do you eat them?
Sort of looks back up. I will not consume that person.
Could you be a little more generic and just say you're not going to consume anyone in the city as well, just to make it easier?
That'd be great.
So reverting back to Elvish, like
just try.
What language?
You know?
I'm not gonna eat people.
I know you're not going to eat people.
Language is hard.
I know. Just say it the way I'm telling you to say it. I'm not going to eat the city.
I'm not going to eat the city. I'm
Yes.
not going to eat the city.
Yes.
I'm not going to eat the city.
Sam broke.
Just
Sam broke.
mental image got too funny.
Kazra looks a little panicked at that because she hadn't considered the possibility of the thing eating the whole city. So now that's just a new.
It's okay. It's okay. You can come closer. He's not going to eat you or the city.
That seems to me to be exactly what you'd say if you were, but I think we're on a schedule here, so I'm gonna trust you. Just saying. I come in peace, and I don't taste very good. You get feathers everywhere. And with that,
That's a lie. That's Sam, not here.
Oh, okay. Just Hio in Elvish. That's a lie.
says it in Draconic. It's like,
KFC.
No.
Very good sense of smell, and I'm telling you right now, you're wrong.
And the problem solved.
She lands with a flourish, but she's got her eyes just got her eyes like, not in an angry way, just in sort of a. And I think she puts her hands at her wings behind her back. Name's Kazra. You can call me Kaz. You guys look pretty friendly for the most part. I heard you might be looking for a ride. I'm here to help if you would like. But she's very like
Sent you?
nervous laughter.
Yeah, I look to Alexander
Well,
back.
we've got kind of a taxi service thing going on up and down here. You guys look kind of lost. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, but how did you know about us, Kezra?
Friends?
Who?
You're sure he's not gonna eat me?
He's not gonna eat you.
Okay, I'm a friend then.
Depends
In
on
that
your
case,
answer. That he did say, and that was in Draconic. So I don't know if you speak Draconic. There was definitely a tone shift.
I need you to not right now do that.
Okay, so you didn't understand what he said because you don't speak Draconic. Essentially, nobody does. On the other hand, that sort of made the ground shiver noise he just made also didn't sound like a warm hug. Okay.
and I prefer a warm hug, quite frankly. Whoa. Okay. Hang on just one second. And she kind of looks at the ambassador. Dashamali said that you would need someone to help you guys out. Instead, you'd probably get killed if somebody didn't come down and keep you from doing so. So here I am.
That tracks.
Like the keep you from doing so implication that it's not like they're gonna do something dumb.
That's the part Alexandri heard.
They have faith in you. The family has faith in you.
They shouldn't.
Great. You look way more relaxed now. Cool.
I think there's this like funny moment where Spider turns towards like the sunlight, and you realize he's got stubble on like one half of his face. It's like really awkward. And he's like, I just need to finish putting my face on.
Okay. Don't worry
I'm
about
happy.
it. Put your face on.
Happy to give you all the privacy you need. I will be over there. Just let me know. Here to help.
Now Hio hasn't seen a full 60 before. Has he ever seen something similar? To his...
Not that spoke, I guess is the best answer.
Yeah.
This is a new one on you. So I think there's, if you're, okay, presuming that the thing with the wings is going to fly by itself, as awkward as that's going to be, for you to move the other two up there is still going to require a Dragirski Kucha. So you're going to probably have to head back to the ranch, as it were, and get harnessed up and then come back.
Okay. Yep. I'm gonna need a little bit of... I'm gonna go get the welcome wagon. You guys stay down here. Please don't get killed while you're down here.
Before you go...
Oh no, what are you doing?
Hio would approach. Probably faster than you want. Not on purpose. Like, he's not actively trying to be... He's trying to, like...
Yes, the problem
is
that because of his size, him taking a step is 2 squares. So he goes, and in 3 steps he's, sort of nose against you.
I think you'll find that's exactly the case, because by the time you get close enough, she's a couple feet up in the air, like enough that she's like face to face.
Yeah. The problem is that we've gone from his hot temper to his socially awkward.
No.
In a really brief stretch of time.
Just immediately.
And so it's like, as soon as like you sort of like, he's like, I'm an idiot. And he's very sort of like, I wanted to apologize for making you uncomfortable.
Hang on a second. Keep in mind that in that photo, just slide to the left there a minute first, Sam. So you'll notice that the jaw on that thing would be the whole length of your arm and then some. And if you take a look at, by proportion, your own teeth are about that long. So if you spread them out over a jaw, that would make them about that long. So what you're looking at is, 4.5 feet of tongue, incisors that tall, politely saying, I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable. From a distance of about there.
No apologies necessary. No apologies necessary.
We'll
no harm, no foul.
Find a way to... Don't worry about transporting Hio.
Okay, I don't have a wagon quite this big.
He's not coming into the city.
You're gonna leave him out here by himself. You're gonna leave you out here by yourself.
No, it's complicated. We will have a child with us, though.
Great. So I should prepare for 3 of you.
3
of you. Sounds good, but not one maybe this big. It was
Just a
great
child,
to meet you.
Normal child.
Great to meet you,
Normal child.
Mr. And she like extends a wing, like in midair, like sort of extends a wing, and then thinks better of it. And and dips her head, just sort of like. It's been a pleasure.
All right. So you're going to zoom
as she leaves, like Hio's shoulders slump a little bit. He lets out a sigh and he sort of looks back at the others and he's just like, yeah, I used to be better at this.
Your people
Caring
also
people.
used to
People?
eat entire cities, so I would understand if you were never better at this. You just thought you were better at this.
I meant communicating, but sure.
I mean,
Yeah, that's one of those things about Alexandra. You can always depend on her to be a comforting force in a time of trial.
she does it best.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Oh.
Alrighty, folks, and so Kazra is going to be seeing tail feathers disappearing rapidly into the distance, with Alexandri Spider and Heyo all looking at each other awkwardly. Yeah, and I think that's where we're going to wrap it for tonight.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's already that time.
Yeah.
It is already
Aw.
that
I looked
time.
at that and went, oh.
Yeah. So it's
We
actually
just met the cool bird person.
I
Uh-huh.
know.
So we will be
More or less.
actually opening next weekend with
Next week?
Mysol. Yes, next week. Thank you. With Mysol, Spider, and Alexandri in one of the sky sleds being brought into Cliff Spider. And there'll be a quick aerial tour of the city that Kazra will so Kaz, I will be Danny. I will send you a sketch of the map via PM so that you can talk a little bit about it, and you can basically you can do the tour. So the idea is for us to chat over the course of the week and get you prepped so that you can do that. So that's it for this week, folks.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Excited.
KJ, no more coming back to the game to find out someone died in my absence.
well, if you didn't leave,
I mean, how to
maybe
feel,
one
how to
did we
feel
time.
consider this? Did we
how to
consider
feel
that?
called out without calling anybody out? Yeah.
Look, you can
Still
change the
happens.
course of the game. Leave and someone dies. Like that's not. That's scary. That's
This
scary.
is not a precedent I want to set.
Let's not set that precedent, please. But also kind of entertained by that idea.
Okay, so I'm gonna hot seat the players. I'm one of the things I have seen a couple of other channels do. In fact, the game that I saw y'all playing in way back in the when, Shadow the Demon Lord, had audience participation points.
Correct.
Where in that case it was donating dollars to bits to get outcomes. What I was gonna suggest, because I watch a lot of trance channels where the DJs basically have got the time watching timer running, and you earn points for how long you've been watching the stream, and then you can get the DJ to play your favorite song or to change the lighting or whatever.
Yes.
I was thinking, and I'll let you folks think about this between this week and next week, that with that we do a slight format change, that for a certain number of audience points, they can basically buy you all legend points or that sort of thing.
We have channel points enabled.
We do not.
Do not currently.
Yes. So the
But we
idea
also
would be
do not have affiliate.
Right.
Streamlabs doesn't care. You can do it through the Streamlabs bot, and it doesn't care if you are.
We will.
Right.
This is to be discussed, I think.
Yes. So I'm just letting you know it was a thing I was thinking. I'm throwing it out on the table for all of us to talk about over the next week.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be a little bit of fun now that you guys are going to be fairly close to going up an actual whole level. And so essentially the stakes will be going up a little bit higher.
Oh no.
And I thought it would be a fun way for the audience to have a little bit of input in the core moments. I'll leave it up to you folks if you like that idea or don't. It's just a suggestion. I wanted to bring it up before I forgot it because squirrel.
Yes. Squirrel? Where?
For 50,000 points, next time KJ leaves, a character dies.
Oh my goodness, I love that idea. Let's end the stream because KJ doesn't need to know about this. Let's go.
Okay, we're done. Bye-bye.
I'm sorry, KJ.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers. We'll see you in a week's time.
Yes.